Please stand and join the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'll now call this regular school board meeting of Independent School District number 544 to order. Our beginning item is to have the clerk establish our quorum, please.
Kirby Anderson.
Here.
Kelly Graff.
Here.
Jenny Christensen.
Present.
Missy Hermes, present. Melanie Cole. Present. Stephen Vigasa.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. The next item of business is to seek a motion to approve our agenda. Will somebody make that
So
motion?
moved.
All right, and a second?
I'll second.
All right, all in favor of approving the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. The agenda is approved. We have a resolution to acknowledge a donation. Thank you to the Otter Elementary PTO for their donation to Cleveland School for the One School, One Book event. I'll offer that resolution and move for its adoption. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the resolution? Hearing none, will have the clerk take roll.
All right. Kelly Graff.
Yes.
Jenny Christensen.
Yes.
Missy Hermes, yes. Melanie Cole.
Yes.
Stephen Vigasa.
Yes.
Kirby Anderson.
Yes.
The resolution is adopted.
Thank you. We have several reports tonight, and we'll begin with Roy Anderson from the Media Center. He's going to give us a report, and at the end, we'll just all be sad because you're retiring. But we'll wait till that.
All right, yeah, I'm Roy Anderson, the library media generalist or librarian at Kennedy Secondary School. My plan is to basically read the first page that I gave you, and then the rest are just notes that we could discuss or you can read on your own, but that's my plan anyway. So I'm here tonight to go over my plan for developing the library media collection as found in District Policy 606.5. The pertinent section reads, there should be a written plan for developing the library media center collection each year. The written plan should be the responsibility of the professional media generalist. The professional media generalist will report on the plan during the school board meeting each year. So that's why I'm here. I'm going to summarize my approach with 6 headings. First, when I develop the collection, I try to honor requests from teachers, staff, students, and others whenever possible, while avoiding duplicate materials and other concerns that may come up depending on the request. 2, I use online and hard copy periodicals focused on libraries, media centers, such as School Library Journal, Book List, Kirkus Review, and Hornbook to keep current, well-reviewed materials in our collection. Point 3, I personally review additional sources that may suggest materials such as the Journal, the Forum of Fargo-Moorhead, Minnesota Star Tribune, the New York Times, and other sources. Each of these resources have regular or periodic book reviews. 4, my plan is to continue to subscribe to the Junior Library Guild, which is a book club that focuses on juvenile literature. 5, purchase as seems appropriate books that are winners or runners-up for these awards. Caldecott, Most Distinguished Children's Picture Books. Newbery, Most Distinguished Children's Books. Coretta Scott King, Most Distinguished Children's Books by African American Authors and Illustrators, as well as a few other awards I may check on for specific categories. And then 6, I try to be mindful of the district policy, which outlines the responsibility of and gives guidance to the library generalist. So that's what I wanted to read. The rest, as I said, were notes. I went over examples how each of those headings would lead me in a certain direction. While you're looking, I'll point out that I did communicate with the library assistants at Lincoln, McKinley, Adams, and Cleveland, and they have some short responses on the second page into the third page.
So Roy, how do you go about, how would you go about weeding the collection? There's only so much space, right? And then what's the process for taking a book out, and then what actually happens to that book if you take it out of the collection?
Yeah, so it's a continuous job weeding books, and I can't say there's any special way I go about it. I start at one end of the library and work my way through. I check on condition of the book, age of the book, if a book has been circulating or not in the library. So those would maybe be the three main things I do. And then the books mostly get recycled. We'll use that term. One of my professors at St. Cloud State, when I was doing my library license there, said you should think of your library as a way station between the publisher and the dump. So that was a dramatic way to put it. But his point was people get so attached to books sometimes that they can't let go. And his point was you have to weed your collection and allow yourself to let go of books even if it's painful.
So Roy, what's your relationship with the 4 library aides? I mean, they don't report to you. Do you meet once a year with them or something, or are they aware of like the policy on our district policy 60615?
Yeah, I can't say that they're aware of it. I have a good relationship with all of them, and we communicate from time to time. So this summer I communicated quite a bit with 3 of them as we were relocating libraries. So it varies. There can be times where we communicate a lot and times where not all that often.
Thank you.
Would you change that for the next person that's coming? Would you have more communication between all of the media assistants and the media specialist?
Yeah, I think that would be a good idea. Yeah, and that's something, whoever takes my spot, I think that would be something they'd probably enjoy. I sure enjoy my time with them. It's just not something that's come about naturally.
We had an adjustment to the policy a couple of years ago where parents could opt out if they didn't want their student to read a certain caliber of books, maybe content-wise. Have you encountered any difficulties with that practice or policy?
No, and it comes up from time to time. So the term we use is it's a flagged book, and it's that because the book title comes up with a little flag by it when we check it out. And then the student's name, when we get the student's patron record loaded, it will also say the student's parents have requested them to not have a flagged book checkout. So it happens. I've maybe had 3 this year, guessing. More than 1, less than 10. How about that have come up as flagged. So.
And then you simply just let the student know their parents have made that?
Yep. I said enough. I usually say, oh, it looks like your parents have said they don't want you to read flagged books. This is a flagged book because of certain content. And students are always respectful. I had one come back this year that said, oh, my mom thinks I can read that one. So it worked out fine always in that case.
Other board questions? Anything, any kind of an overview you want us to know about your work in the library or about the progression since you started?
Yeah. Now, I haven't really reflected that much, but retiring now, as you hinted at, it's just been a joy to come to work every day. I can't believe the opportunities I've had in this school district. So a thanks to the school board and the members of our school district, the community members. It's been an honor, and I'll still stay connected, and I'm going to miss it, but it's been a great trip.
Great.
So, just real quick, the tech stuff that you do for concerts, and
Yeah.
is that something that you just took on, or was that part of your job description?
Yeah, no, I was a 5th grade teacher in that building before I got the media center job.
Yeah.
And I should have known this, but then I got hired as the library person. Dean Monkey hired me, and he said, "Oh, and by the way, you know, you're also in charge of the auditorium." And I'm like, really? I didn't know that. Should have known that. So it was a bit of a surprise, but that's been a lot of fun too. I don't know if anyone was at the event Friday night. It was one of the experiences that has made me really enjoy that auditorium. So husband and wife team was kind of old school song and dance program, which was really fun. So I've got to experience a lot of that. And I was not a sound audio tech at all like you are. I've gotten better, but it'd be nice to have somebody in there that really knows sound and lights.
Great.
Thank you.
Good enough? Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
The next reports we will have are from Kirby Anderson.
Okay, I've got reports tonight on finance and the 504 Education Foundation. Finance Committee has not met in the last month. We are scheduled to meet this Thursday at 10:30 a.m. So I'll have a report on that next time. And the 544 Foundation did meet on Thursday, February 13th, right here in this room at noon. And some of the highlights of that, we received a gift of just over $33,000 from one of our alumni that passed away. So that was some good news. The major donor newsletter went out is going out this week, I think. The Pictorial History Project, it's over in the other room over there, and it has a lot to do with the Lincoln School. There's alumni email that just went out last week, in late February. 2 weeks ago, we had the alumni night, where we had a basketball game over at the rec gym, and it was the Otters playing against Wilmer. And the Otters won, and we had a fundraiser for the foundation to throw the ball at halftime. Took it to midcourt, and some young gal won $400, and the foundation got $400 out of that besides. So that was a good deal. And then we also honored the 1990 state high school team that went to the state tournament that year. And the really nice thing was that Minnesota Motor sponsored it, so that everybody got to go in for free. The last thing I have is there's no monthly meeting this month in March. Our next meeting will be on April 10th.
Thank you. Any questions for Kirby? Board reports from Jenny Christensen.
All right, I still haven't met with the Minnesota High School League yet. I'm hoping that comes about soon. But we did meet, the activities committee did meet also on February 13th, and we did briefly discuss charging fees for facility use for groups that are like outside of the school organization. We're just going to keep talking about that and see kind of where that goes, just an idea of trying to recoup the cost of wear and tear, janitorial staff, that kind of stuff. We also talked about coach hiring and contract renewal processes, just general discussion on that. We also talked about compensatory, compensatory processes on different activities like fishing league, clay busters, archery. We don't currently pay the coaches or the volunteers who help those teams currently. So we were just throwing out ideas on whether or not that's something that we would ever entertain if that was something that was brought up. Currently, I believe it was clay busters. They do charge a fee through community ed with that, and then they are registered with our activities committee. We also talked about the Minnesota High School League eligibility policies for 7th and 8th graders with the addition of the 9th graders to their governance policies. And uniform rotations and purchasing, rec gym repairs. We also talked about figure skating and the fact that they do letter with us, but the figure skating, I guess you can kind of say like activity as a whole is not a Minnesota High School League activity. So because we were talking a little bit, Steve, you're gonna have to remind me of this maybe, is the fact that we look at their disciplinary and their chemical infractions, and they might be double, what's the word?
Enforcing it.
Yeah, like they're being enforced through us as well as through the figure skating club, and just kind of how to alleviate that, because
It was more just,
Yeah.
it's kind of dumb that we're doing that.
Yeah.
And, you know, you also think about information sharing and things like that. We shouldn't be sharing great information with a club. And
Yeah, if that's
There should,
even,
you know, we figure
Yeah.
there's ways that they can self-report to their coaches on the figure skating club what their own grades are and not the school.
yeah, it seemed like they wanted us to do kind of the lion's share of the work on
Well,
disciplinary action.
Yeah.
They are a sport, even though it's a club sport, that
Right.
is a sport that can letter, and we're giving that letter, so we
Right.
should have oversight, and I don't think it's a problem to have oversight over chemical use or
Sure.
grades,
Right.
because that's part of,
It's just, I
Sure,
think
I
where we
think
got
it was
hung
the-
up was the information sharing with
Yeah.
the club sport versus, we haven't fleshed it all out yet. We ran out of time, but, I mean, I can see both sides where you, it's information that they need to know, but it's two different organizations, right? So you have the school, when you, Minnesota High School, the rules about suspension and things like that, but, I don't know, it's just kind of a muddy.
It's a weird gray area, trying to figure
I
out
haven't
how
actually,
to,
yeah, been really,
yeah, it was just a preliminary discussion that will continue, but, and we don't currently have another meeting scheduled yet, but we will soon.
And I imagine the activities director is gonna come back with some additional information, how
Yeah.
other schools are
Yes.
handling that.
Yep.
Very well. For my board reports on Region 1 and the Meet and Confer group, quite simply, neither group has met, so I have nothing to report. We'll move on to Kelly Graff.
Staff development was today. We met today. They went over training and funds. They really seemed to enjoy the speaker, Phyllis. Wasn't sure her last name. 11 non-certified staff attended that, which I thought was great. Next year for the 25-26, they decided they were going back and forth between the day before Thanksgiving to do a speaker. They kind of wavered on that a little bit. And then they really liked the speaker, Ricky White, and they talked about having him also come back and talk to the students first and then the staff. They seem to have that down pat, so they'll make that with him. They'll start talking with him about that. And they talked about adding some ADHD and dyslexia sessions, some AI sessions that could be virtual. The Cindy and Hope, some trauma sessions that everyone wants. It seems like there's some new review trauma sessions that they can have. They did the self-care last time. They really would like to see all non-certified staff invited. It can be mandatory because it isn't allowed in their contracts at this time. But they would like to see them all invited. There was a little concern, I thought, about sending 3 staff to the SPED conference with a sub shortage. I thought that was kind of a bit of a lot when we have such a sub shortage in the SPED at work. Other than that, they adjourned for April 7th then. And they'll have to excuse me, the wellness committee met, but my son was sick, so I wasn't able to attend.
Any questions for Kelly?
I don't have a question, but I have a comment about them moving that staff development day back to November, because I think that's a good idea. whether the day before Thanksgiving is a good idea or not, I don't
Right.
know. But back to November so that what is learned at during staff development can be used in the coming months. It seems, March, it seems late.
Right.
Yeah.
November.
Missy Hermes board report. Switch over here. So the policy committee has not met. I'm sure we'll be having a meeting soon. But the curriculum review advisory committee met on February 18th. And we had 3 excellent reports. And first we had a report from Krista Simongard about the talent development program, which used to be called Gifted and Talented. And so she talked about how students are tested in the early grades for that, how a student qualifies for that, taking the COGAT test, and I'm trying to think what that stands for, but anyway, what's that?
Cognitive abilities test.
Well, that's maybe what we call it, otter capability test, but
No, cognitive.
cognitive ability test, yeah, you're right. Okay, yes, obviously my cognitive ability maybe is messed up from the daylight savings time, I don't know. But anyway, and then she talked about Otter Scholars, that's K through 3, and how the activities they are working on are critical thinking and enrichment in math and reading and accelerated math for 4th and 5th graders, and using the Bridges curriculum, the language arts curriculum. Also, in addition to the cognitive ability test, they use the STAR math and reading tests and the MCA tests. And also, she talked too about Math Masters, but I want to make sure, I'm not positive on this, but I think she said that they're in 4th grade, there are 24 students that are in this program in reading, and 20 in math, and 20 5th graders in reading, and 21 in math, and then there are 10 6th graders too. So that was Krista Simongard's report. And then we also have reports from Amelia Lamar. So she gave the RTI, and I always hear that, and what that stands for is response to intervention. So this is, I'm just going to read what she wrote, because she did an excellent presentation and gave us all a demonstration and shared materials. But she said that the response to intervention program provides targeted reading and math support to students who need additional help in developing the skills necessary for independence in the classroom. I thought that was important. So kind of like off what you were talking about, special education, right? So RTI, or Response to Intervention Services, are offered in addition to regular classroom instruction, with sessions lasting 20 to 25 minutes. And reading RTI is available for students in grades K through 8, and math is offered in grades 3 through 8. And the goal of Response to Intervention is to strengthen skills, support classroom learning, and then this was the big one that really impressed me, just to build students' confidence that they can do it. They can do it in the classroom, and give those students confidence as independent learners. And she said that a lot. And then we did ask, what if a parent says, I don't want that? And that is a parent's option. They do not have to have their child in Title I or in RTI services, and they have to sign a permission form in order to do that. And then the other report we had was on Title I from Courtney Anderson, and she too had an excellent report and also shared the materials that they actually use with students. And
Title I is designed to serve eligible students who are identified as having the greatest need for assistance. And these services are available, and in our school district, not only do we have public school children that receive Title I services, but we also provide Title I services to students that go to Our Lady of Victory School and also Hillcrest, the lower academy. And she says here that similar to response to intervention, Title I services are provided in small groups. And I think that also builds confidence because that student who maybe is struggling in a larger classroom gets to have that individualized attention. So anyway, the reports were really, really good. Didn't you think so?
They were excellent.
They were. I really appreciated it. I'm glad I'm on that committee.
So Missy, with the talent development, those kids that are in the program, are they being pulled out of class, or is it like just integrated within class?
No, they are being pulled out of class. Mm-hmm.
I don't have a question, but just a comment about Title I. My son was in Title I this year, and he went from reading 2 words a minute to 20 words a minute. So they are working really hard with those kids and doing an excellent job.
There's a lot of success.
It's really, he was testing way below average in the fall, and now he's well above average. It's kind of amazing to see what those teachers are doing with these kids.
And thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
And it was Amelia and it was also Courtney that reported, but they also gave a lot of credit to the special education paraprofessionals that work individually with those students and the special education teachers. I wish I had a list to share all their names with you, but that's a team that's working hard.
They're doing really great stuff with our kids.
Yep.
Any other questions for Missy? Stephen Biggessa reports?
Buildings and grounds, we are probably going to schedule a time after this meeting today to meet. We're planning a meeting this week. We have some pretty, I would say pretty heavy topics to talk about. Establishing a process for a potential building bond in November 26th. We're going to review our facility lease rates and fees, and then we're going to discuss the big timeline for capital projects. And that's going to probably take up our time anyways for that meeting, but yeah, so I'll have a report next month on that.
Any questions for Steve? And report from the superintendent, Jeff Drake.
Well, good evening. Start out with thank yous. Thanks to the 544 Education Foundation and to Minnesota Motors for a wonderful alumni night at Rec. We had a tremendous crowd. Boys had an exciting game and really just a nice opportunity for our community to get together and catch up with one another and enjoy a very entertaining sporting event. So thank you for all that they do for us continually with Minnesota Motors, sponsoring the tickets, admission, and the 544 Foundation. Some congratulatory notes. So our boys swimming team, those that had qualified, we had one relay and some individuals competed Friday and Saturday down at the state meet. The Otters placed 15th as a team, but Reese Hansen placed 4th in the 100 back and earned all state honors. And my understanding is that Reese's finish is one of the highest individual finishes that we've had with the swimming program in quite a number of years. So congratulations to him. The 400 relay team, which was Hansen, Kopinski, Toole, and Vodova, placed 9th. So there were essentially 2 heats. There was a finals heat on Saturday. There was also a consolation finals heat, and they won the consolation finals heat. So congratulations to them. And then some noteworthy individual accomplishments. Reese also placed 15th in the 100 fly. Jaden placed 13th in the 100 free, and then Matthew placed 13th in the 200 free and 12th in the 500 free. So congratulations to those swimmers. Otter girls basketball team finished runners-up in the Section 8 AAA region section. And so they met a really tough Alexandria team. As an aside, Alexandria will be 4A next year, which is perhaps good news for us. But again, congratulations to the girls basketball team on a tremendous season. Under student accomplishments are 2 Knowledge Bowl teams. We could send 2 to the sub-regions. That was held today at M State. And so Team Fergus Falls Fire finished 4th, and Fergus Falls Fuchsia finished 6th. And both of those teams will qualify for the region meet with an opportunity to qualify for state. That region meet will take place on the 18th, so good luck to them. Creative learning or creating learning experiences, 1 school, 1 book. So The Adventures of Henry Whiskers is being read by the students at Adams and McKinley. And this is really a nice opportunity. Not only do they have a chance to have the book read to them during the school day and read independently, but they also read with their parents at home at night. And it's a great opportunity to celebrate the love of reading and bond with your child and participate actively in their learning. So that is taking place at McKinley and Adams. Miss Jessica's kindergarten blue team also took a couple local field trips. So our thanks and appreciation to Companion Animal Hospital and Dr. Franzen, as well as InVision Eye Care with Dr. Kemper, for allowing our students to come in and learn about careers in those fields and experience some wonderful learning opportunities. I'm going to touch a little bit on the state budget forecast that was released on March 6th. I'm going to just give a quick overview of the November 2024 budget forecast. It was projecting a modest budget surplus of $616 million. That's fiscal year 26-27. And then a $5 billion deficit or structural imbalance heading out into fiscal year 2028 and 29. Last week they did the revised forecast. The news did not get better. The news was worse. Minnesota, in that tails of that budget, are looking at a $6 billion deficit, just under that, and that $600+ million surplus currently is looking at $456 million, so a significant downturn there. Essentially what that means for us is that the state will use that February/March budget forecast to really frame what they're going to fund in this next biennial budget. So they will be taking a good hard look at what the state can afford and what it can't. What that means is that additional monies for public schools will likely be at a premium, along with other services that the state provides to various other state agencies, etc. So we are going to be in for some lean times coming up, but we will roll up our sleeves and do the work necessary to ensure that with the resources we have, we do the very best on behalf of our students and families in this district. For school events, Otter basketball, the boys varsity, will face off against Alexandria, again up in Detroit Lakes. That game will take place Friday, March 14th at 7 p.m. Kindergarten meet and greet, one more reminder on that, that's coming up Friday, March 21st. 2 sessions, 12:45 to 2 p.m. or 2:15 to 3:30 p.m. And there are a number of ways to register for the meet and greet. Senior yard signs, we're in the very end of the sale for those. So if you have a relative graduating, child graduating this spring, it's a wonderful way to recognize and honor them for their graduation. And then I have another Community Connections coming up next Tuesday, March 18th, right in this spot here from 5 until 6 p.m. And with that, I will turn it over to any questions.
You had a virtual one, didn't you?
I did a virtual one for the staff recently, and then I did a virtual Q&A during the bond. But certainly it would be very easy for me to open up a Q&A community connection as well.
Any other questions or comments for the superintendent?
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll continue on with the business meeting for consideration of our general consent items. And for consideration of approval are the minutes from our February 24th, 25 regular board meeting. And then for the bills from February 25th through March 10th and the treasurer's report. So I will turn to you, Jenny.
All right, starting with the treasurer's report, taking a look at our general fund, it is a little bit lower than it was at the beginning of the balance, but still at a good, healthy amount, which is good going into this budgeting season. Food service is also a little bit higher than it was last year. Community ed is significantly lower than it was last year, but we discussed that it was going into a deficit to begin with this year. Is that correct? Construction, obviously we've got, I think Renee mentioned one more bill coming out from construction for the Lincoln project. Debt service is a little bit more healthy than it was last year at this time, and the trust is a little bit lower. So we're looking at about 19 million for our end balance without construction, currently where we sit. And then as for our bills, there were quite a few different charges for hotel and motel rooms for both staff development and different activities that we had going on with all of the sports teams heading out on the road. We also had somewhere in the realm of about $400,000 for Otter Tail coaches. Some new MacBooks were purchased. 4,500 of that is going to be reimbursed from the IQ program. We had 1,900 from some Adams heat pumps that were repaired. 83,000 for the water main break. We had 62,000 for Lakeland mental health. There's also another 4,200 that's going to be reimbursed for the Promise Fellow. We had a tech sled football equipment that was purchased, but that was actually paid for by the Booster Club, and then also another $208,000 for a compressor leak. And those were the items of note in the notes.
Did you say
The compressor?
$3,000?
That was the water main.
For the water main
That was
break.
the total.
Total. The
That
total
wasn't
so
in
far.
addition to the 43?
No, that
No.
was 43.
Yeah, that's the total of what we paid.
The last one you said was.
Yeah. For the compressor leak, 2,800.
2,800.
Yeah, 2,800. And they do, for that water main break, they still are looking at quotes to repair the railing.
Isn't the city responsible for any of that?
No,
That's
that
a
was
great
on the
question, I
school
wish I-
portion.
If the break was in the street, then they would get, it's on our property. It's the same thing with residential. It's on your side of the sidewalk.
All right. We have some personnel items as well. We have a certified staff retirement. Lynette Ringquist is retiring, and we'll have a resolution on that in a little bit. Pamela Sherman is resigning at the end of the school year as well. Certified staff hires, 2 IQ elementary teachers have had their time increased in various small amounts, but that again would be to accommodate the student enrollment. Leave of absence request for Christy Angus, language arts teacher at the ALC for the upcoming school year. 3 support staff hires, Jamie Norstag, Brendan Fallon, and Stacia Bethel, all special ed paras. And then support staff resignations. These are all special ed paraprofessionals as well. Rebecca Forrester, Molly Tisdall, Angela Walters, and Maya Scholten. And then one coach resignation, Ben Jurgens will resign as girls head soccer coach. So with that, is there a motion to approve the general consent items?
So moved.
Is there a second?
A second.
Any discussion on any of the items? All in favor of approving the general consent items, say aye. Opposed, say nay. That is approved, and we'll move on to new business. A resolution on the retirement of Lynette Ringquist. Whereas Lynette Ringquist began her employment with Fergus Falls Public Schools in August 1990, and whereas Lynette has been a valued employee with Fergus Falls Public Schools for the past 35 years, and whereas Lynette has been a dedicated elementary teacher for the district, and now therefore be it resolved by the Fergus Falls School Board to thank Lynette Ringquist for her 35 years of service to Fergus Falls Public Schools. Does someone offer that resolution and move for its adoption?
I would like to offer that resolution and move for its adoption.
All right, and a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Lynette, you've been awesome.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. I've enjoyed my 35 years here. I can't say enough about the district. It's kind of bittersweet, but I think I'm ready to retire. So thank you so much for everything.
Thank you.
All right. Any other comments or questions? Then I'll move to the clerk for a vote.
Melanie Cole. Yes. Stephen Biggessa.
Yes.
Kirby Anderson.
Yes.
Kelly Graff.
Yes.
Jenny Christensen.
Yes.
Missy Hermes, yes. The resolution is adopted.
All right, thank you. And that is the conclusion of our agenda this evening. Just a reminder, as Superintendent Drake just noted, connect with the superintendent meeting next week on Tuesday, right here, 5 to 6 p.m. Our next regular school board meeting will be in 2 weeks, March 24th, right here. And we do not have a work session, but in case you think your school board members are getting off easy, we're working on the budget and we're doing a lot of extra on that, so we'll be bringing that back around soon. And with all that, is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll motion.
All right, and second?
I'll second.
Any discussion on adjournment? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. All right, thank you. We are adjourned.